my Blu-ray collection, part 16. Hi everybody, amongst part 16 of a look at my Blu-ray collection. Films, TV, music, comedy, all sorts in there. Just no box sets because I've already shown those, and by box sets I mean multi-film collections and multi-series TV show collections. Okay, first up in this batch we have The Death of Stalin, Armando Iannucci's film based on a graphic novel about the events surrounding the death of Stalin. But it's a comedy, and it is very, 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 very funny. Brilliant cast: Steve Buscemi, Simon Russell Beale, Paddy Considine, Rupert Friend, Jason Isaacs, Michael Palin, Andrea Riseborough, Jeffrey Tambor. Yeah, just really, really funny. They all play it in their natural accents-ish, or certainly not in a Russian accent anyway. And it's sort of the backstabbing and everything between them, and it's just brilliant. Highly recommend that if you haven't seen it. This is Lamour du Bois, or The Double, I think is the rough translation. Or the... I can't remember. But exactly. Lamour. It's something to do with love anyway. Oh, doesn't matter. Marine Vact is a young woman who is a bit screwed up, so goes to see a psychoanalyst played by Jeremy Renier. They fall in love. They end up getting together properly, having a relationship. She's still not quite right. And while she's at work, she works in a museum, she sees him and follows him, and he goes to a different psychiatrist's office, and she's convinced that he's leading a double life. But it turns out that they're twins who don't get on, and she starts having an affair with the twin as well, and it's deep psychological thrillery, drama-y type French film, and as you can see from the cover, sexy as well. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Bohemian Rhapsody. Right. Brace yourselves. I like the film. I enjoyed the film. However, I kept getting taken out of the film by inaccuracies and the way they screwed around with the chronology. And as you know, I'm a big Queen fan. I'm not the biggest Queen fan in the world, but I know enough about them to know when things were released and their basic story, and you know, when, for example, they started sharing credits on their albums, and who had the first solo release and all that sort of stuff. And it's all screwed around with in here. They play songs years before they've written them. They write songs years after they wrote them. It's just all wrong, basically. I know it had the approval of Brian and Roger, but it is so screwed around with that it really kept taking me out of the film. But the performances were excellent, and as I say, I did enjoy the film, but this is just a brilliant film. Baby Driver by Edgar Wright, even. I mean, if you can, you've obviously got to ignore the fact that Kevin Spacey's in it, given what has subsequently come out about him. But it's just a brilliant film. What's his name? Ansel Elgort plays Baby, who, following a car accident that killed his parents, has really bad tinnitus, and the only way he can drown it out is by permanently listening to music. But he's a really good driver, and he turns into a getaway driver. He meets Lily James and they fall in love, and he wants to escape his criminal world, and it's not that easy. But yeah, really good film. I loved this as well. Street cat named Bob, based on a true story about a homeless guy, James Bowen, who's a recovering drug addict who's befriended basically by a cat called Bob, and he ends up taking him in, and they go busking together, and Bob's a big attraction, and he does well with Bob. His neighbour, played by Ruta Gedmintas, who's one of my favourite actresses and is the real life partner of Luke Treadaway. I'm not sure if they're married yet or not. I know they have a child together now. Yeah, she plays the neighbour, and obviously they fall in love, but there's complications along the way with that because of his drug addiction. And as I say, it's based on a true story, and it's just a really excellent film, very moving, very funny. Loved it. It's American made, based, as it says, based on a true lie, so based on a true story. Cruise plays a pilot who gets recruited to... He does some drug running, and then he gets recruited by the CIA to infiltrate... what's his name? His name's completely gone, but the big Colombian drug lord, Escobar. Is it Escobar? Something like that. And then things go very wrong, and yeah, it's really good. Very enjoyable film. Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. I liked this a lot. I thought Cara Delevingne was excellent in it. Dane DeHaan not so much, but he was perfectly watchable, but he's not the greatest actor in the world. But yeah, Cara was a revelation. It's mad sci-fi-y. I know Luc Besson, did he write it and not direct? I can't remember if he directed it or not. Oh no, he did direct it as well. Yeah, by Luc Besson, who did Fifth Element and Leon and Nikita and lots of other bits. Names have gone completely out of my head at the moment. Yeah, big sci-fi romp basically, and I really enjoyed it. This is a bigger splash. So this is... Tilda Swinton is a rock star who is currently residing in France, Italian island, with her partner played by Matthias Schoenaerts, a younger lover, and she's resting her voice because she's having voice problems. Her agent or manager, what is he? Says old friend on there, but he is her agent or manager, or was, played by Ralph Fiennes, turns up with his daughter in tow, played by Dakota Johnson, and it's sort of intertwining love affairs, and then something happens, trying not to spoil it in case you watch it, that changes all their lives, let's put it that way. But yeah, really enjoyed that. Logan, just brilliant film. So this is Hugh Jackman as Wolverine for the last time, and it's in the near future, and he's getting old and weary, and he's trying to protect Professor X, Charles Xavier, Patrick Stewart, who's basically going a bit doolally, really. He can't control his telepathy, whatever it is that he's got. So they're hiding out on the Mexican border, and Logan's just doing sort of chauffeuring jobs for money and drugs for Xavier. But yeah, it's just really good film. Highly recommend it. Very different from the X-Men films, but just excellent. This has also got a black and white version of the film, which I haven't watched, but apparently it adds to it. Where are we going? This is The Witch, which is a horror by... Can't read it from here. Can't read it. It's light grey on black. It's not the easiest thing to read. It's set in Middle Ages. No, it's not actually, is it? Because it's in America. It's in New England, not England. But it's basically the Pilgrims have gone over to America, and the devout Christians, and William and Catherine, played by Ralph Ibsen. God, I wish I'd print this in something different. Innocent, that's it. And Kate Dickie. Have 5 children, one of whom is Anya Taylor-Joy. And they set up a home on the outskirts of this village because they're ostracised. I can't remember why. But then their newborn son vanishes and their crops fail, and they think there's a witch in the forest near them. And I can't say much more without spoiling it, but yeah, really strong film. Red Sparrow, I liked a lot, and not just because Jennifer Lawrence gets naked, but it helps. So Jennifer Lawrence is a former ballerina who has an accident and breaks her legs, so can't dance, so she gets recruited by her uncle into the Sparrow School, who are a bunch of female, I think they're all female, but a bunch of, no, because in the school there's more than female. Anyway, she gets turned into a spy, basically. And she doesn't necessarily want to be a spy. But yeah, it's a really good spy thriller. And Jennifer Lawrence is excellent in it. I enjoyed it a lot. This is Flesh and Blood, Paul Verhoeven's film that sort of was his halfway house between his early Dutch films and his US films. So it was made with his Dutch crew, I think, but on US money, I think. But yeah, it's a really good fantasy, medieval fantasy type film. This is a nice Eureka release with a big booklet and all sorts in there. I nearly showed a bit of boob in because there's pictures in there. So Jennifer Jason Leigh is the daughter of a nobleman. She gets betrothed to Stephen, who is the son of this other nobleman who hired a group of mercenaries to win some battles, and then he went back on his promise to these mercenaries, so they're after revenge, so they kidnap her, and then they move into this castle, and Stephen's trying to rescue her, and the mercenaries are led by Martin, played by Rutger Hauer, and there's a love triangle between the three of them, and it's just a really good film, basically. Anyway, great performances all around. Highly recommend Flesh and Blood. Back to Jennifer Lawrence. This is Passengers with Chris Pratt. So they're on a long journey, meant to be in hibernation, deep sleep for years. Chris Pratt gets accidentally awoken finds that he's the only one there, sees Jennifer's, is it a picture or does he see her in the pod? Can't remember which, but he decides to wake her up, but he lies and says it was a malfunction. They fall in love, she finds out the truth, and then more things happen, basically. I enjoyed it a lot. On to some Christmas films now. So I had to buy some Christmas films for a Christmas quiz I hosted 2018, and a lot of them I've only fairly recently got around to watching. This is Scrooged. This is a film I knew and loved anyway. So this is basically Christmas Carol retold in a modern age, and Bill Murray is a miserly TV executive. Very funny film. White Christmas, the Irving Berlin story, well, certainly his music. So the song White Christmas originally appeared in the film Holiday Inn, but it was such a big hit that they sort of decided to make a film based around it, roughly. Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye are a double act, song and dance men. They big hit. First of all, they're in the war. Then afterwards they become huge stars. They join forces with a sister act played by Rosemary Clooney and Vera Ellen, and fall in love, and they go to Vancouver to a hotel that's being run by their former commanding officer because they want to help him out. They want to do a big charity gala to raise money for him, and it's, you know, typical schmaltzy Hollywood musical film, but perfectly enjoyable. The Polar Express, I enjoyed this by and large. I even excused the presence of multiple Tom Hanks in it. I think it would work better nowadays where the technology is better, but otherwise, yeah, I enjoyed it. Elf, a lot of fun. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it. I'm sure most of you enjoy it. And finally, for this part, the complete series 10 of Doctor Who. So this is the last full series with Peter Capaldi. So this has got Pearl Mackie playing Bill, and Matt Lucas is in most of it as Nardole. I enjoyed this series a lot. This has also got the Return of Dr. Mysterio, the Christmas special from beforehand as well. Lots of extras on it as in here. Yeah. Doctor Who complete series 10. Oh, I will show you on this the lenticular cards because they are very good. Try and get it so you can. There we go. It's a bit of a spoiler if you're not familiar, but as is this. But yeah, very good lenticulars. Okay, so that's it for this part. You can watch the playlist for past parts and keep an eye on it for the future ones. Thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks. Bye.